You picked the wrong black woman to harass today. General Angela Brooks's voice remains steady as Officer Mitchell twists her arm behind her back. Metal cuffs snap around her wrists too tight, drawing blood, talking back to an officer. Captain Porter looms over her. That's how people like you end up with problems. Brooks memorizes his badge number, his name tag, the mole above his left eyebrow. Check her for weapons, Porter commands. Mitchell jabs her ribs during the search. Finds her wallet, keys, phone. He tosses them into an evidence bag. Something funny, Porter demands when he notices her calm expression. Brooks says nothing. They miss the military raw communicator hidden in her jacket lining. Get her in the car, Porter barks a night in. Holding should fix that attitude. They shove her head down. Forcing her into the cruiser, they have no idea who they've just arrested. Fluorescent lights buzz overhead. The processing room smells of sweat and cleaning chemicals. Brooks stands perfectly still for her mugshot. The camera clicks name. The booking officer doesn't look up from his computer. Angela Brooks' address. She provides her Oak Street address. The officer pauses, eyes narrowing. That's in Riverton Hills. His tone changes, recognizing the predominantly black neighborhood. Brooks presses her thumb against the fingerprint scanner. Black ink stains her skin behind her officers. Porter and Mitchell laugh by the water cooler. Another one from that neighborhood. Thinking she's special. Mitchell says, voice carrying deliberately, acting like the checkpoint doesn't apply to her. Had to put her in her place, Porter replies. These people need to learn. Brooks memorizes every word, every inflection, every face, watching her processing phone call. She asks the booking officer. He points to the wall phone. One call, make it count. Brooks dials a number from memory, not her lawyer, not Family Operations Center, Pentagon. Answers a crisp voice, authorization code Tango. Delta 794. Brooks speaks clearly, initiating protocol oversight. Delta location transmitting. A moment of silence. Confirmed. General Brooks response team. Deploying. Timeline 41 minutes. Brooks hangs up as Councilman Robert Langford storms into the station. His expensive suit and championship ring gleam under the harsh lights. Another troublemaker, Langford demands, looking through the glass at Brooks. Porter nods. Just processing her now, sir. Good, Langford says. These checkpoint resistors need consequences. The program is too important. Brooks is escorted to a holding cell. The door clangs shut. She sits on the metal bench, back straight, face composed. The clock on the wall reads 9:17 p.m. In exactly 41 minutes, everything will change. 2 hours earlier, sunset paints the sky orange over Riverton Hills. General Angela Brooks drives her modest sedan through familiar streets. The neighborhood transitions from predominantly black to the wealthier, whiter suburbs of Brookdale Blue. Lights flash ahead. Police cruisers block the road. A checkpoint. Brooks slows window. Already rolling down. She's done nothing wrong. This should take seconds. Officer Mitchell approaches, flashlight beam sweeping across her face. License and registration. Brooks reaches slowly for her glove compartment. May I ask what this checkpoint is for? Officer Mitchell. Stiffens, just routine ID. Now she hands over her driver's license. Mitchell studies it, flashlight lingering on her address. Riverton Hills resident, he says into his radio, requesting additional verification. Brooks notices his emphasis on her neighborhood. Is there a problem with my identification, officer? Wait here. Mitchell walks back to the cruiser, license in hand. Brooks watches through her rear-view mirror. Mitchell shows her license to another officer. They both look at her car, laughing. Captain Porter emerges from the command vehicle. Mitchell points at Brooks's car. Porter nods, approaching with deliberate slowness. Step out of the vehicle, ma'am. His tone carries no respect with the formality. May I ask why my license is valid? Step out now. Porter's hand rests on his holster. We're implementing enhanced search protocol. Brooks knows her rights. Enhanced search requires reasonable suspicion of criminal activity. What's your suspicion? Captain Porter's face hardens out of the car. Brooks complies, movements deliberate. I'd like to note that this appears to be selective enforcement. We did what selective, Porter says. Hands on the hood. I decline consent to search my vehicle without probable cause. Brooks states calmly, Terry v. Ohio and Delaware v. Prowse established clear guidelines for look at the lawyer here, Mitchell mocks. Moving closer, thinks. She knows the law. Brooks stands her ground. I'm familiar with my Fourth Amendment rights. Porter steps closer. Your kind always want to make things difficult, my kind. Brooks raises an eyebrow. Troublemakers? Porter clarifies, but his meaning hangs transparent in the air. Other drivers watch from their cars, some record with phones. Porter notices gesturing to another officer, clear these vehicles through no recordings. Brooks observes Officer Cooper approaching cars, making people put phones away. She commits each face to memory, each badge number, each license plate. Last chance. Porter says consent to search or face obstruction charges. I respectfully decline and request a supervisor. Brooks says her voice remains steady, professional. I am the supervisor. Porter signals to Mitchell, detain her. Mitchell grabs Brooks's arm, twisting it behind her back. The pain shoots through her shoulder. Stop resisting, Mitchell shouts. Though she isn't resisting. I'm not resisting, Brooks says, clearly aware of creating an audio record. I'm complying under protest. Porter steps closer. You don't tell us how to do our jobs. Brooks notices Mitchell's body camera. The red recording light blinks off. Your body camera appears to be malfunctioning. Officer Mitchell, she notes, mind your own business. Mitchell tightens his grip. Brooks's military training kicks in. She could disable both officers in seconds, but that's not why she's here, not tonight's mission. I'll be filing a formal complaint, she says instead. Porter laughs. Good luck with that, Councilman. Robert Langford personally oversees checkpoint operations. Your complaint goes straight to his trash can. Brooks's watch presses against her wrist. The military red device captures every word, every admission, evidence. Gathering continues. Search the car. Porter orders another officer, sir, without a warrant. Brooks begins. We have checkpoint authority under city ordinance. 27-9. Porter interrupts. Signed by the council last month. Brooks knows the ordinance. Knows its constitutional flaws. Knows exactly who pushed it through. Find anything. Porter calls to the officer searching her car. Clean. Sir Porter seems disappointed. Check under the seats. These Riverton people always hiding something. Brooks's fingers discreetly press a button on her watch. The GPS tracker activates Pentagon systems now. Monitor her location in real time. Nothing, sir, the officer reports, sir. Porter turns back to Brooks. Well, you are still interfering with a lawful checkpoint. That is, obstruction. Citing constitutional protections is not obstruction. Brooks counters and now arguing with an officer. Porter nods to Mitchell. Cuff her. The metal cuffs bite into her wrists. Mitchell secures them too tight deliberately. Angela Brooks, you are under arrest for obstruction of justice and resisting a lawful checkpoint inspection. Porter recites satisfaction in his voice. Brooks notices a young woman in a nearby car recording discreetly. Their eyes meet briefly. Brooks gives an imperceptible nod. You have the right to remain silent. Porter continues. I am aware of my Miranda rights. General Brooks interrupts. I assume you are transporting me to the Brookdale station. Porter pauses, thrown by her composure. That is right, I will need my phone call when we arrive. You will get what we decide to give you, Mitchell says, shoving her toward the cruiser as they lead her away. Brooks glances at the checkpoint. Officer Cooper turns away another Riverton Hills resident. For additional screening, 3 cars with white drivers pass through without stopping. Pattern established evidence accumulating, Mitchell pushes her head down, forcing her into the back seat. Officer Mitchell, badge no. 4572. That use of force is unnecessary and excessive. Brooks states for her watch's recording, shut up. Mitchell snaps, slamming the door through the window. Brooks watches Porter speaking with another officer. He gestures toward Riverton Hills. Laughs, the cruiser pulls away from the checkpoint. Brooks sits calmly in the back, mentally reviewing the Pentagon protocol she has just activated. The situation is proceeding exactly as anticipated. The interrogation room at Brookdale Station smells of stale coffee and floor cleaner. A single overhead light casts harsh shadows. The metal table is bolted to the floor. Brooks sits straight back in the uncomfortable chair. Her handcuffs remain tight. 2 hours have passed since her arrest. The door opens. Captain Porter enters carrying a thin folder and Brooks's confiscated belongings. He drops them on the table, comfortable. His smile does not reach his eyes. Brooks does not respond. The less she says, the more they reveal. Porter opens the folder. Angela Brooks, Riverton Hills address, no priors. He looks up. First time being educated about checkpoint compliance. I would like to speak with an attorney soon enough. Porter circles the table. We are just having a conversation first. I invoke my right to counsel. Brooks's voice remains level, precise. Porter ignores her. See, we have a problem in this town. People who do not respect authority, people who think rules do not apply to them. He leans against the wall, studying her checkpoints. Keep Brookdale safe. Some folks do not like being checked. Those folks usually have something to hide. Brooks remains silent. Her military training included resistance to interrogation techniques. Porter's amateur intimidation tactics would not break a first-year cadet. Nothing to say. Porter flips through her wallet. Interesting ID. You have got here. He pulls out her military ID, studies it, snorts. Marine Corps General, 4 stars. He tosses it on the table. Nice. Fake, adding impersonating military personnel to your charges. Brooks watches him carefully. That identification is authentic, right? Porter laughs, and I am the Secretary of Defense. His phone buzzes. He checks the screen, nods slightly. Our concerned citizen is here, Porter says, moving to the door. Someone wants to meet the latest checkpoint troublemaker. Brooks's photographic memory catalogs every procedural violation, every failed Miranda compliance, every civil rights infringement. Porter leaves through the thin walls. Brooks hears a new voice, authoritative, impatient, another one from that neighborhood. The voice must belong to Councilman Robert Langford. Yes, sir, Porter responds, gave us the usual constitutional speech. Had a fake military ID too. Military. Langford sounds interested. What branch Marines claims to be a general? Porter's laugh carries through the wall. Get what you need and process her. Langford says, make an example. These checkpoint resistors are undermining the whole program. Brooks notices the one-way glass, feels Langford watching from the other side. The door opens again. Porter returns with Officer Mitchell. Let us try again. Porter slaps a form on the table. Sign. This confession to obstruction. Take a misdemeanor charge and you will be out by morning. Brooks studies the document without touching it. I will need my attorney present before signing anything. Mitchell steps forward. Captain, asked you nicely and I respectfully declined, Brooks replies. Porter nods to Mitchell, who moves behind Brooks's chair. His presence meant to intimidate you people from Riverton Hills. Think you are special, Porter says. Think the rules do not apply. But Councilman Langford's checkpoint program has cut crime in Brookdale by 28% by targeting specific neighborhoods. Brooks asks. Porter's expression hardens. By enforcing the law where it needs enforcing. Selective enforcement is not legal enforcement, Brooks says. Mitchell places heavy hands on her shoulders. You should listen to the captain. Brooks does not react to the physical intimidation. I believe this interview is over until my counsel arrives. Porter collects her belongings intentionally, dropping her military ID on the floor. He steps on it as he walks around the table. This little military costume does not impress me, he sneers, picking up the ID. Though I admire the attention to detail. 4 stars, ambitious fake. He tosses the ID back on the table. Mitchell increases pressure on Brooks's shoulders. We have got all night. Porter says plenty of time for you to reconsider that signature. A sharp knock interrupts. The door opens immediately. Detective Marcus Green stands in the doorway. His expression shifts from professional to confused as he takes in the scene. Captain Porter says carefully, a moment outside. Porter hesitates, then nods to Mitchell. Watch her. The door closes behind them through the wall. Brooks hears urgent whispers. The conversation grows heated. Someone knocks urgently on the interrogation room door. The door opens. Detective Green enters, followed by a visibly agitated Captain Porter. Green, mid-30s, with observant eyes, carries himself differently than the other officers. His badge hangs from a chain around his neck. His suit, while department issue, fits properly. Officer Mitchell, you are needed at the front desk, Green says. Mitchell looks to Porter, who nods reluctantly. Mitchell leaves, closing the door firmly behind him. Green approaches the table. He picks up Brooks's military ID, examining it closely. Captain, this ID has proper security features, Green says. The holographic seal, microprinting, UV watermarks, all authentic military issue. Porter scoffs. It is a good fake, no sir. Green places the ID gently on the table. I served before joining the department. This is genuine. Porter's confidence wavers momentarily. So she stole a military ID, added to the charges. Brooks watches the dynamic between them. Green represents something rare, integrity within a corrupted system. Ma'am, Green addresses Brooks directly. May I ask your name and rank? General Angela Brooks, United States Marine Corps. Green straightens. Instinctively, military bearing does not fade with time. And what brings you to Brookdale? General Green asks, before Brooks can answer. Porter interrupts. Detective, she is being processed for obstruction and checkpoint evasion. Her occupation is irrelevant, sir. If she is active military, we have jurisdictional protocols to follow. Green counters. Porter steps closer to Green. I am handling this case, Captain. Department policy requires verification of military credentials. Green persists. Section 14 of our procedural manual specifically states, I know the manual. Porter snaps. Then you know we are already in violation of proper procedure. Green does not back down. No attorney present despite request. Continued questioning after rights invocation extended. Detention without processing. Porter's jaw tightens. Detective, remember your place. My place is ensuring department procedures are followed. Green replies evenly. He turns back to Brooks's ID, examining the rank insignia. His eyes widen. Sir, Green whispers, these are 4 stars, so 4 stars is the highest rank in the Marine Corps. Green looks at Brooks with new understanding. There are only a handful in the entire military. Porter's confidence cracks further. It is still a fake. The interrogation room door swings open. Councilman Robert Langford enters without knocking, his tailored suit and signet ring. Project Authority and Wealth, Captain. What is the delay? Langford demands. I thought this was routine processing. His eyes fall on Brooks. He assesses her with practiced political calculation. Councilman Langford, Green says, "We have a situation. This woman appears to be a high-ranking military officer." Langford scoffs. Based on what military identification consistent with a Marine Corps General? Green explains we need to verify through proper channels before proceeding. Detective, is it not? Langford checks Green's nameplate. Your concern for procedure is noted now. Let the captain handle this. Green stands his ground, sir, with respect. If we have detained a military general improperly, the department faces serious repercussions. If Langford emphasizes a remarkably big if he turns to Porter. Captain, handle the paperwork and process her. Detective Green, you are needed elsewhere, sir. Green protests. Standard protocol requires standard protocol is what I say it is. Langford interrupts. The checkpoint program operates under special city ordinance. My ordinance. Brooks watches Green carefully. She sees the moment his professional ethics confront political reality. Councilman Langford, Green says carefully, "May I at least verify her identity through military channels? A simple phone call." Langford studies Green. You are new to Brookdale, are you not? Detective, transferred 6 months ago, sir. Then let me explain how things work here. Langford steps closer. The checkpoint program is essential to Brookdale's safety and property values. Occasional complaints are expected. They are handled quietly and quickly by violating rights. Green asks. Langford's smile turns cold. By maintaining order, do not overthink your role, detective. The phone on the wall suddenly rings. All three turn toward it. Porter answers. Captain Porter. He listens, frowning. What kind of call? His expression shifts from annoyance to confusion. From where Porter's face pales slightly, he hangs up. What is it? Langford demands. Front desk has received calls asking about a General Brooks. Porter says slowly. From whom? Langford asks. Porter swallows. The Pentagon. The room falls silent. Langford and Porter exchange glances. Probably her friends playing games. Langford dismisses. Captain, finish processing. And sir, Porter interrupts. They mentioned her by name and rank. They knew she was here. Langford turns to Brooks, reassessing. Green's eyes widen at the 4 stars on her ID card. Sir, do you realize who we have arrested? Langford silences him with a gesture. Captain, verify this properly now. Porter exits quickly. Langford studies Brooks with new caution. If you are military, Langford says, you should understand importance of security checkpoints. I understand constitutional rights, Brooks replies in selective enforcement. Langford's political smile returns general. If that is what you are, surely we can resolve this misunderstanding amicably. The phone rings again. Porter answers from outside. His voice carries through the door. Yes, sir. Yes, she is here. No, sir, I understand. Sir, Langford watches the door with growing concern. Porter returns, visibly shaken. That was Colonel Parker from the Pentagon Military Police. They have confirmed her identity. Excellent. Langford recovers quickly, then release the general immediately. With our apologies for the misunderstanding, there is more, Porter says quietly. They are sending representatives here now. Langford's political mask slips. What representatives? A military investigation unit. Porter says they specifically mentioned your checkpoint program, sir. Langford turns to Brooks, understanding dawn in his eyes. This was not a coincidence. He realizes your presence at the checkpoint. Brooks meets his gaze steadily. The station's front desk phone begins to ring. The persistent ringing echoes through the station, multiple lines. Now phones lighting up across desks. Langford moves to the interrogation room door, closing it firmly. His political composure cracks further. What exactly is happening here, he demands. Brooks remains silent. Her mission does not require explanation. Porter's radio crackles. Captain, we have multiple incoming calls. Pentagon, DOJ, Governor's Office. Handle it. Langford snaps. Sir. Porter responds. They are specifically asking about General Brooks Green. Watches this exchange with growing awareness. He moves closer to Brooks. Would you like those handcuffs removed, General? He asks quietly. Langford glares at him. Detective, step back, sir. She has been confirmed as a military general, Green argues. Continuing to detain her is my decision. Langford interrupts. He points at Brooks. Whatever game you are playing ends now. Brooks finally speaks. This is not a game. Councilman, it is an investigation. Langford laughs, but uncertainty edges his voice into what systematic civil rights violations through discriminatory checkpoint practices, Brooks states. Targeting minority neighborhoods, violating Fourth Amendment protections, implementing quotas based on race and district. Langford's face hardens. Ridiculous accusations documented. Accusations, Brooks corrects. Porter's radio crackles again. Captain, military vehicles approaching the station. Langford's political calculation visibly shifts to self-preservation. He turns to Porter. Release her now. Claim miscommunication. Blame the officers who made the arrest. Porter hesitates. Sir Mitchell followed your checkpoint protocols exactly. Then blame the protocols, Langford hisses. Just contain this. Green steps forward, removing a small key from his pocket. He unlocks Brooks's handcuffs. My apologies, General, he says formally. Langford watches this with growing alarm. Detective, prepare the necessary paperwork for the General's immediate release. Green nods but makes no move to leave. Now Detective Langford insists in a moment. Sir Green turns to Brooks. General, may I ask what happens next? Brooks rubs her wrists where the cuffs bit into her skin. Justice happens next. Detective Green. Langford laughs nervously. A simple misunderstanding does not require such dramatics. 8 months of documented civil rights violations is not a misunderstanding. Brooks replies. Green looks between them. 8 months. Brooks nods. The Pentagon has been monitoring Brookdale's checkpoint program since its implementation, gathering evidence, building a case. She checks her watch. And now that case is complete. Porter's radio crackles once more. Captain, 4 black SUVs have entered the parking lot. Military personnel disembarking. Langford moves to the door. I need to make some calls. Your calls will not help. Councilman Brooks says. This investigation has federal oversight. Then his hand freezes on the doorknob. The political mask shatters. Completely. Green steps closer to Brooks. He discreetly slides a USB drive across the table. Internal Affairs has been looking into the checkpoint program, he whispers. But we kept hitting roadblocks, administrative obstruction, evidence of direct interference. Brooks asks quietly. Green nods. Everything I could gather. Checkpoint locations, arrest, demographics, internal communications. It is time. General, he whispers. He whispers. The interrogation room door swings open. A military officer in full dress uniform enters, followed by 2 MPs. The Silver Eagle insignia identifies him as Colonel Parker. Colonel Parker surveys the room, his gaze stopping on Brooks. General Brooks, he salutes crisply. Colonel Brooks returns the salute. Thank you for the prompt response. Of course, ma'am. Parker turns to the others. I am Colonel Parker, Pentagon Investigative Services. These are my associates. Langford steps forward, political smile reinstated. Councilman Robert Langford, Brookdale City Council. This has been an unfortunate misunderstanding. Sir Parker interrupts. Please remain in the station. My team will have questions for you shortly. Langford's smile falters. Questions? I assure you I had no knowledge of the General's improper detention. Noted, Parker says. Without inflection, he turns to Porter. Captain, secure this room for the General's use. We will need your main conference room for our team. Porter hesitates. Colonel, this is a police station. You do not have jurisdiction. I have direct authorization from the Secretary of Defense. Parker cuts him off. Your cooperation is not optional. The station fills with activity. Military personnel set up equipment in the conference room. Computer specialists access the station's systems. Evidence collection teams secure records. Langford watches with growing alarm. This response seems excessive for a simple detention issue. Brooks stands straightening her civilian clothes. This is not about my detention, Councilman. It is about what my detention represents. She turns to Colonel Parker. Status report teams deployed as ordered. General evidence preservation protocols in effect. Pentagon liaison briefing the governor now. Langford attempts to leave two MPs politely but firmly direct him back. This is outrageous, he protests. I have rights, yes, Brooks agrees. Everyone does. That is precisely the point. Brooks and Parker move to the conference room, now transformed into a command center. Digital displays show checkpoint locations throughout Brookdale, all strategically positioned between Riverton Hills and wealthy neighborhoods. Green follows, carrying case files. General, I have brought the internal documentation you requested. Thank you, Detective Brooks says. Your assistance is invaluable. Langford and Porter are escorted in, directed to seats away from each other. Mitchell joins them, confusion evident on his face. Brooks stands at the head of the table. The room falls silent. Gentlemen, she begins. 8 months ago, the Pentagon received multiple complaints about a police checkpoint program targeting minority neighborhoods in Brookdale. Initial review suggested Fourth Amendment violations. Further investigation revealed something more disturbing. She activates the main display. A map appears showing checkpoint arrest statistics. Red dots cluster exclusively in minority neighborhoods. Selective enforcement. Brooks continues. Checkpoint stops resulting in searches. 86% minority drivers arrests from those stops. 91% minority citizens. Porter shifts uncomfortably. Crime statistics justify deployment. Traffic violations occur at equal rates across demographics. Brooks interrupts. Yet your checkpoint program produced these results. She changes the display. Internal police emails appear. Captain Porter. This is your message to officers dated March 12th. Focus on vehicles from Riverton Hills. Higher yield for arrests. Porter pales. That is taken out of context. Context is provided by your arrest quotas. Brooks replies, displaying another document specifically targeting Riverton Hills residents. Langford interrupts. General, these operational details were handled by the police department. As councilman, I merely approved the program concept. Brooks turns to him. Is that so? She nods to Colonel Parker, who displays a new document. Langford's signature appears at the bottom of detailed checkpoint operating procedures. This directive specifies targeting specific neighborhoods. Brooks notes your signature authorizes racial profiling. Councilman Langford's political facade cracks completely. This is a witch hunt. This is accountability. Brooks corrects. She turns to Green. Detective, please share what you found during your internal investigation. Green steps forward. 8 months ago, I noticed troubling patterns in checkpoint arrests. When I raised concerns through proper channels I was reassigned, I continued documenting discrepancies. He opens his file. Checkpoint officers were instructed to use different standards based on driver's race and residence. Riverton Hills vehicles received heightened scrutiny, regardless of driving behavior, Porter interrupts. That is not your body cam footage contradicts you. Captain Brooks says. She plays a video. Porter appears instructing officers before a checkpoint deployment. Remember? Riverton cars get the full treatment. Make the stop stick. Langford stands abruptly. I need to contact my attorney. You will have that opportunity, Brooks assures him. After we complete this interview, she slides a folder across the table. These are just from the last 8 months. Captain Porter's face drains of color as he opens the file. The investigation continues into the night. Military personnel process evidence. Technical teams analyze department servers. Legal advisors document violations in a quiet corner of the conference room. Brooks finds Green reviewing files. Detective, she says. Joining him, your assistance has been crucial. Green looks up, exhaustion etched on his face. I should have done more sooner. You did what you could within a corrupt system. Brooks says that takes courage. Green closes the file. When I transferred to Brookdale, I had no idea the checkpoint program was already established. Presented as innovative community policing. When did you realize the truth? Brooks asks Green. Hesitates, pain flashing across his features. 3 months ago, he finally says. My brother came to visit. He was stopped at a checkpoint, detained for hours, no charges, just intimidation. He stares at his hands, stares at his. He is a pediatric surgeon, drives a nice car, but they only saw a black man in the wrong neighborhood. Brooks finishes. Green nods. I filed complaints, used proper channels, evidence disappeared, witnesses changed statements, the system protected itself. That is why I am here, Brooks says. Sometimes the system needs external pressure to change. Why you specifically? Green asks. Why did the Pentagon send a 4-star general for a local police investigation? Because some issues transcend jurisdiction. Brooks explains civil rights violations impact national security, erode public trust, undermine the Constitution we are all sworn to protect. Green absorbs this. What happens to the officers to Langford? Justice, Brooks says, simply due process, the same rights they denied others and the people they wrongfully arrested, the lives they damaged. Part of the remedy includes case reviews, expungements, compensation. Brooks meets his eyes. Your brother's case will be among them. Green wipes his eyes quickly. This is not just about today, is it, General? No, she answers. It is about every day before this and every day that comes after. Green straightens, professional composure returning. What is our next step? Evidence compilation. Brooks says your testimony will be crucial before the federal grand jury. I am ready. Green affirms for the first time since her arrest. Brooks smiles. I know. Dawn breaks over Brookdale Police Station. The parking lot fills with government vehicles. FBI agents join military investigators after we complete this interview. She slides a folder across the table. These are just from the last 8 months. Captain Porter's face drains of color as he opens the file. The investigation continues into the night. Military personnel process evidence. Technical teams analyze department servers. Legal advisors document violations in a quiet corner of the conference room. Brooks finds Green reviewing files. Detective, she says. Joining him. Your assistance has been crucial. Green looks up, exhaustion etched on his face. I should have done more sooner. You did what you could within a corrupt system. Brooks says that takes courage. Green closes the file. When I transferred to Brookdale, I had no idea the checkpoint program was already established, presented as innovative community policing. When did you realize the truth? Brooks asks. Green hesitates. Pain flashing across his features. 3 months ago. He finally says, My brother came to visit. He was stopped at a checkpoint, detained for hours, no charges, just intimidation. He stares at his hands, stares at his... He is a pediatric surgeon, drives a nice car, but they only saw a black man in the wrong neighborhood. Brooks finishes, Green nods. I filed complaints, used proper channels, evidence disappeared, witnesses changed statements, the system protected itself. That is why I am here, Brooks says. Sometimes the system needs external pressure to change. Why you specifically, Green asks. Why did the Pentagon send a 4-star general for a local police investigation? Because some issues transcend jurisdiction. Brooks explains. Civil rights violations impact national security, erode public trust, undermine the Constitution. We are all sworn to protect. Green absorbs this. What happens to the officers to Langford? Justice, Brooks says, simply due process, the same rights they denied others and the people they wrongfully arrested, the lives they damaged. Part of the remedy includes case reviews, expungements, compensation. Brooks meets his eyes. Your brother's case will be among them. Green wipes his eyes quickly. This is not just about today, is it, General? No, she answers. It is about every day before this and every day that comes after. Green straightens, professional composure returning. What is our next step? Evidence compilation. Brooks says your testimony will be crucial before the federal grand jury. I am ready. Green affirms for the first time since her arrest. Brooks smiles. I know dawn breaks over Brookdale Police Station. The parking lot fills with government vehicles. FBI agents join military investigators. Justice Department attorneys arrive with subpoenas inside the conference room. The atmosphere shifts from investigation to prosecution. Evidence boards cover the walls. Computer screens display data analyses. Legal teams prepare documents. Captain Porter sits alone, separated from his officers. Langford's attorney arrived hours ago, whispering urgent advice, ignored by his client. Colonel Parker enters with a new team general. The Secretary of Defense sends his regards. The investigation has been elevated to Joint Task Force status. Brooks nods. Excellent. Let us proceed with the full briefing. The room fills with senior officials, military, federal, state. The governor's representative sits near the Attorney General's deputy. Brooks takes position at the head of the table. The room falls silent. Ladies and gentlemen, she begins. What started as a civil rights monitoring operation has revealed systematic constitutional violations and abuse of power. Today I present comprehensive evidence in 3 categories: visual documentation, audio recordings, and written records. She activates the main display first. Visual evidence dash cam footage appears. A vehicle from Riverton Hills stopped at a checkpoint. The driver, professional, polite, is ordered from the car without cause. Search conducted without consent. When he questions the legality, he is arrested for obstruction. This pattern repeats across hundreds of documented stops. Brooks explains. She shows split-screen footage. White drivers pass through checkpoints with cursory checks. Black drivers from Riverton Hills face extended detention searches and frequent arrests. Checkpoint camera systems captured clear racial disparities in enforcement. Brooks continues. White drivers were stopped at 11% frequency. Black drivers at 79%. Langford interrupts. Selective editing can create false patterns. These are your department's unaltered recordings. Councilman Brooks replies, complete time stamps intact. She displays a heat map of checkpoint placements. Checkpoints were exclusively positioned to intercept residents leaving minority neighborhoods, particularly Riverton Hills. Porter shifts uncomfortably. Strategic deployment based on traffic patterns was contradicted by your own traffic study. Brooks interrupts, displaying the document which recommended different locations entirely. She moves to a new screen, second category, audio evidence. Brooks activates an audio file. Porter's voice fills the room. Councilman wants more arrests from Riverton. Make it happen. Officer Mitchell responds, even without cause, Porter find. Cause broken taillight, failure to signal, get them out of the car, you will find something. Langford stands. That recording could be any one voice. Pattern analysis confirms, Captain Porter, and Officer Mitchell. Brooks replies. Recorded during official briefings. She plays another recording. Langford's voice now. The checkpoint program serves two purposes. Public safety is what we tell the press. Property values is why we are really doing it. Keep the element where it belongs, in Riverton, not in our neighborhoods. Langford sinks back into his chair. My military watch recorded our entire interaction last night, Brooks explains, including unguarded comments. When you thought I could not hear the federal officials exchange glances, the evidence mounts beyond dispute. Finally, Brooks continues. Documentary evidence. The screen displays internal emails, text messages, and official memoranda. Porter. Two officers use checkpoint quota system as discussed. Langford wants numbers up in Riverton demographic department. Statistics appear: arrest rates by race, search rates by neighborhood, conviction outcomes by demographic. The data reveals unmistakable discriminatory patterns. Brooks explains checkpoint stops led to arrests for black drivers at 6 times the rate of white drivers for identical violations. She displays arrest reports side by side, same violation, different races, different outcomes. But the most damning evidence comes from the program's origin. Brooks says she reveals city planning documents, property developer communications with Langford, financial records. Councilman Langford received substantial contributions from developers looking to revitalize Riverton Hills. Brooks explains their development strategy required displacing current residents. The documents tell the story: checkpoint harassment designed to pressure Riverton residents to leave, property values driven down. Developers positioned to purchase at depressed prices, civil rights violations driven by financial motivation, Brooks concludes. Then Langford's attorney whispers urgently in his ear. Langford ignores him. This is fabricated. Langford insists, a politically motivated attack. The evidence speaks for itself, Brooks replies, and now the final piece. She nods to Green, who connects his USB drive to the system. Detective Green conducted his own internal investigation, Brooks explains, documenting checkpoint operations from within Green stands. I collected evidence of quotas targeting specific neighborhoods. Documented systematic civil rights violations. Recorded instructions to ignore constitutional protections. His files appear on screen. Officer performance reviews tied to Riverton Hills arrest numbers, checkpoint schedules targeting black churches, community centers, and businesses. Most critically, Green continues, I discovered that complaints about checkpoint practices were systematically buried. He displays the evidence. Complaint forms marked resolved without investigation, witness statements, altered video evidence, deleted when residents attempted to use proper channels for redress. Green explains the system was designed to silence them. The room falls silent as officials review the overwhelming evidence. This operation was not about my personal detention. Brooks explains, I volunteered to test the system directly after months of intelligence gathering. My experience matched exactly what our investigation predicted. She turns to Langford. Your checkpoint program violated the Fourth Amendment, targeted citizens by race, obstructed justice when challenged. The Justice Department official stands. We have seen enough. This evidence supports federal civil rights charges. Langford looks around desperately. This is a misunderstanding. The program had legitimate public safety goals. The evidence contradicts that claim. Brooks responds. Langford attempts one last defense. General Brooks intentionally provoked officers, created this situation, and Tremont. I simply drove through a public checkpoint, Brooks replies calmly. My rights were violated because of who I am and where I live, exactly like hundreds of other citizens. She displays the final document. This is the classified Pentagon investigation authorization signed by the Secretary of Defense, launched after multiple military personnel reported discriminatory treatment at your checkpoints. The reality of his situation finally hits Langford. He turns to his attorney in panic. The investigation is complete, Brooks announces. Federal prosecutors will now determine specific charges. The Pentagon investigator connects the final laptop to the projector. This evidence goes back 4 years. FBI agents approach Porter Mitchell and other implicated officers. Justice Department officials surround Langford. Robert Langford, you are under federal investigation for civil rights violations, abuse of power, and obstruction of justice. The lead federal prosecutor announces. Langford stands abruptly. I need to make a statement to the press. Control the narrative. He moves toward the door. Military, police stand ready. Councilman Langford attempts to leave through the back door, where military police wait. 1 week later. Capitol Hill, a congressional hearing room, fills with observers, press, and officials. General Angela Brooks sits at the witness table in full dress uniform. 4 stars gleam on her shoulders. Medals and ribbons testify to decades of service. The committee chairperson calls the session to order. This hearing on civil rights enforcement and local policing will now begin. General Brooks, thank you for your testimony today. Brooks adjusts her microphone. Thank you for the opportunity to address this committee. Please summarize the Pentagon's investigation into the Brookdale checkpoint program. The chairperson requests. 8 months ago, the Department of Defense received multiple complaints from military personnel subjected to discriminatory treatment at police checkpoints in Brookdale. Brooks begins. Initial investigation revealed a pattern of constitutional violations, specifically targeting minority neighborhoods. She presents the evidence methodically. The discriminatory checkpoint placements, the racial disparities in enforcement, the financial motivations behind the program. Our investigation confirmed systematic Fourth Amendment violations. Brooks continues. Citizens were detained, searched, and arrested without probable cause. When they attempted to assert their rights, they faced increased charges. A committee member interrupts. Why did this require Pentagon involvement rather than Justice Department? The initial complaints came from military personnel. Brooks explains, however, we quickly discovered that civilians faced identical treatment. We coordinated with Justice Department officials to ensure comprehensive investigation. Brooks displays the checkpoint map. The program strategically isolated the predominantly black community of Riverton Hills. Residents faced constant harassment when traveling to work, school, or shopping. The evidence unfolds on screen. Arrest statistics by race, search rates by neighborhood, conviction patterns showing clear discrimination. Most concerning, Brooks continues, was that the program operated with explicit city approval. Councilman Langford personally directed police to target specific demographics. Another committee member leans forward, and the current status of those involved. Councilman Robert Langford faces federal civil rights charges. Brooks reports Captain Porter and 5 officers have been indicted. The checkpoint program has been permanently terminated. She pauses, then adds, most importantly, all convictions stemming from unconstitutional checkpoints are under review for expungement. The chairperson nods. General, your decision to personally test the checkpoint system was unconventional. What motivated this approach? Sometimes systems only reveal their true nature through direct experience, Brooks explains as a black woman and a military officer. I was uniquely positioned to document the disparity between how citizens should be treated and how they were actually treated. A supportive committee member speaks. I would like to recognize Detective Marcus Green, whose internal investigation provided crucial evidence. Detective, please stand. Green rises from the audience. The room applauds his courage. Detective Green risked his career to document these violations. Brooks acknowledges his ethical commitment represents the best of law enforcement. The chairperson turns serious. What changes do you recommend to prevent similar abuses nationwide? First, independent oversight of checkpoint operations, Brooks suggests. Second, mandatory data collection on stops by demographic. Third, clear consequences for departments showing discriminatory patterns. She looks directly at the committee. Most importantly, we must recognize that constitutional rights are not optional. They do not depend on race, neighborhood, or economic status. The hearing continues with questions and testimony. Brooks provides detailed responses, always returning to the core principle: equal protection under law. As the session concludes, the chairperson makes an announcement. Based on this investigation, we are introducing legislation establishing federal standards for checkpoint operations. The Equitable Enforcement Act will require transparency, accountability, and constitutional compliance outside the hearing room. Brooks meets with Green. The committee was impressed with your evidence. She tells him the FBI has offered you a position with their Civil Rights Division. Green smiles. I have accepted change. Sometimes requires working from the inside, and your brother Brooks asks his record has been expunged. Green confirms he is helping organize the class action lawsuit for other checkpoint victims. Brooks nods approvingly. Justice works slowly, but it does work when good people insist upon it. Green adds, 2 months later, a community center in Riverton Hills. Residents gather for a town hall meeting with their new police chief. Brooks, now in civilian clothes, sits quietly. In the back, she watches as Green, no longer a detective, but a community liaison, facilitates dialogue between residents and police. The new chief announces reformed policies: body cameras always activated, stop data. Publicly available community oversight board with real authority. After the meeting, an elderly resident approaches Brooks. You are the general. Are you not the one who brought down those checkpoints? Brooks smiles. I just helped expose the truth. You did more than that. The woman says, my grandson was arrested at one of those checkpoints, lost his scholarship because of it. Now his record's cleared and he is back in college. I am glad to hear that. Brooks responds. One thing I do not understand. The woman continues. You are a general. You could have used your rank from the beginning. Why go through the arrest? Because most people cannot use rank or privilege to protect their rights. Brooks explains the system should work equally for everyone, not just those with status. The woman nods thoughtfully. My grandson wants to be a lawyer now. Says somebody needs to know the law to protect the community. He is right. Brooks agrees. Knowing your rights is the first step to defending them. Outside, Green waits to drive Brooks to the airport, returning to the Pentagon. He asks, yes, Brooks confirms, but our civil rights oversight will not end with Brookdale. This case established a template for identifying similar patterns nationwide. The checkpoint is gone. Green observes as they drive past its former location, but the work continues. Brooks looks out at the community, families walking freely, residents no longer afraid of arbitrary enforcement. This is what security actually looks like, she says. Not checkpoints and harassment, just people living their lives with dignity and equal protection under the law. The committee chairman gavels. The session closed. This hearing is concluded, but our work has just begun. General Brooks steps into the sunlight outside the Capitol building. 8 months later, Pentagon. Conference room. General Brooks stands before a wall of monitors displaying checkpoint data from cities nationwide. Colonel Parker enters with fresh reports. Implementation of the new oversight protocols is proceeding as scheduled. General 15 departments have voluntarily reformed checkpoint practices and the resistors, Brooks asks. Justice Department has opened investigations into 11 jurisdictions showing similar patterns to Brookdale Brooks studies. The data red flags highlight familiar patterns, checkpoints concentrated around minority neighborhoods, disparate enforcement statistics, complaint suppression. The Brookdale model is proving effective, Parker notes, identifying indicators of systemic discrimination before they become entrenched. Brooks nods and our military personnel reports down. 60%. Parker confirms the warning system works. Service members report potential civil rights issues directly to our office. Now Brooks's secure phone chimes a text from Green Langford, sentenced today, 6 years. Federal restitution ordered for checkpoint victims. Justice delayed but delivered, her assistant enters. General, your next appointment is here. A young black woman in Air Force uniform enters. Lieutenant Nicole Carter, recently detained at a checkpoint outside Maxwell Air Force Base. General Brooks greets her. Thank you for reporting your experience. Lieutenant Carter salutes crisply. I was not sure if it warranted attention until I heard about your Brookdale operation. Every data point matters. Brooks assures her, your report matches others from that jurisdiction. Carter straightens. What happens now, ma'am? Now Brooks explains, we follow the evidence document. The pattern ensure constitutional protections apply equally to everyone. She moves to the window looking out at the Pentagon courtyard where service members from all backgrounds serve a common mission. The uniform does not protect us from discrimination, Brooks tells Carter, but it does give us the responsibility to uphold the Constitution for ourselves and for every citizen. Carter nods in understanding. That is why I reported it, not just for me exactly. Brooks agrees. Systems only change when good people recognize injustice and take action. She returns to the data displays, to the work that continues. No checkpoints. Brooks says no double standards, just equal justice under law. The map of America glows on the screen before her. Each indicator represents work to be done. Communities waiting for fairness, rights requiring protection. General Brooks gets back to work. Did that story grab your attention? Hit that like button right now to support more hard-hitting justice thrillers. Like this one delivers powerful voice. Only narratives that keep you engaged, whether you are commuting, working out, or just relaxing. Our signature storytelling style brings you into intense moments of injustice and the satisfying path to accountability. Subscribe to never miss our weekly uploads featuring gripping justice thrillers, stories of ordinary people facing extraordinary challenges, powerful narratives with unexpected twists, premium voice-only content perfect for multitasking. Turn on notifications so you will know immediately when we drop our next story. Your support helps us create more content that matters. Justice speaks volumes.